The guest order has been taken, the chef has made the food, and now to take the plate out to the guest. But before taking the plate out to the guest and presenting the meal, there are a number of things that we have to do in preparation to ensure that when we put the plate down, it's absolutely perfect. We're going to look at the preparation and what is involved in order to get that plate perfectly down in front of the right guest, ladies before gents, every single time. I have taken the guest's order and posted that with the kitchen. Now there are two very important phases. 5 minutes before the food is ready and 1 minute before the food is ready. Let's go and take a look at how long the plate of food is going to take to get to the guest and start the preparations for 5 minutes and then 1 minute. Over here, we're working with a 3 docket system. My docket that I use for front of house, the past manager's docket in order to call and communicate with the chef, and then the chef's docket on this side. Now, I've been told that it's 5 minutes before the plate of food is ready for the guest. Now, in this 5 minutes, this would be my cue to get cutlery ready, coordinated with my docket over here, as well as the wine pairing, which is going out with this dish. So, this is where I would get my cutlery ready, go and sit at the guest, and ensure that the bar knows that it's time for them to start pouring the wine pairing, so I may take that out and deliver that to the guest, so the guest has ample time to nose the wine, sit, let the wine breathe beautifully, and get ready so it's at its optimum temperature and at its peak when the guest enjoys their magnificent food and wine experience. I've been given the heads up from the past manager that it's 5 minutes before the next course is ready for the guest. This is my cue to come out, set the cutlery, and to do the wine pairing. Now, I would confirm with my docket, get my cutlery neatly, well prepared on a tray so that it comes out smart. I would cue the bar, wine pairing, table 3 please. So, as soon as I've set the cutlery, I could have a runner. So while I'm at the table, setting the cutlery, a runner comes out with the wine, and I could neatly pour the wine so that I'm not coming back to the table 30 times simply to prepare them 5 minutes for the meal. Let's have a look at setting the cutlery and then pouring the wine pairing and getting the guests ready for their next course. With setting cutlery, same as always, ladies first. And understanding which position is having which meal so that I can set the right cutlery that I have on my tray. Now this preparation involves the docket. You don't always have to have the docket with you, but if you're dealing with a large table of say 15 to 20 guests and you need to know what cutlery goes where, a neat little docket book like this underneath your tray looks fantastic. Alternatively, if you don't have a docket book like this, a small piece of paper that is neatly cut, that is on the tray, that tells you exactly the position numbers that you're going to be placing at. So, placing here is very simple. It's the same cutlery because the guests have ordered exactly the same meal. I would place for the ladies first. Now, when placing cutlery at the table, this is a stage of the meal where there's very little interaction between server and the guests. They haven't come here to interact with us, they've come here to interact with each other in our great space that we have created for them. Setting cutlery at the table requires a certain amount of preparation. Preparation back of us, to match the cutlery with the course that is coming out, and match the cutlery with the actual position that is going to be having that course. Once again, always remembering ladies first, oldest to youngest, then gentlemen, and then the host to be set, in that order. Right, so I've got my cutlery set, and it's neat on a tray. Now, when bringing the tray out to the guest, there are a couple of little tips. What you can do is set the cutlery according to the position number. In other words, position number, if we have a big tray, and setting a table of 10, position 1 to 10, and we'll always be able to remember which cutlery to which position. Alternatively, we could bring out the docket if it's neat, or write a small piece of paper that goes on the tray under your thumb, and while setting cutlery, you can quickly confirm. It's important to actually know exactly where it's going back of house, so we don't have to stand at the table. Position 2's having fish cutlery. Be prepared. Know exactly where each is going, so it's a quick reference and down it goes. Now, when presenting cutlery or setting cutlery, remember always open body language. This is a stage of the dining experience that is quiet. This is where shadow service comes in. We don't have to interact with the guests while we are setting cutlery. And remember, comfort always comes first. So if the guests are sitting with their arms nice and wide on the table, simply set the cutlery on the outside of the arms without having to get involved in the guest conversation or for them to have to stop, interact, which they haven't come here to actually do. Right, so lady first and knife down. Now, when putting your cutlery down, because you understand the dish that the meal is coming out on, and you understand the size of the dish, ensure that when putting the cutlery down, first off, that you have given yourself enough space, so when presenting the actual meal in 5 minutes' time, that you don't have to sit and hold 2 plates and move your cutlery out. So once again, preparation back of house, this is the preparation front of house. So presenting the cutlery with as few fingers on the cutlery as possible, and in a space like this, instead of having to cross the guest over here or try get around her like this, there's another space over there. I'm going to be going into that space in any case, so I could simply set that piece of cutlery over there on that side, position 2, and then move around, set her cutlery and his cutlery very simply. Now, get one job done first. So, this side, I would finish setting her cutlery, giving myself enough room, and presenting his cutlery. Or, if the gentleman was sitting with his elbows on the table, for instance, there and there, because he's really relaxed, I could simply move the cutlery out and put it on either side. Remembering, body language is always open. The guest hasn't had to interact with me. It's also a quiet process. Cutlery is very, very noisy. Let's try to keep it as quiet as possible and place. Quiet as possible and place. With enough room and the space. Now comes the wine pairing. Now it's time for the wine pairing. Now, whether you serve the wine pairing or the wine by the glass, out of the bottle, or in a little decanter like this, the 5-minute rule allows us enough time to get the cutlery down and then the wine pairing in the glass. If the guest is drinking out of the bottle, or they've ordered a bottle for themselves, the 5-minute rule allows us then to do cutlery and then top up their wines, so we don't have to top up their wines while they're eating their meal. While a guest is eating their meal, they need to eat and have sufficient drink so that we don't have to get involved, interact, which stops the dining experience and puts a stop-start motion to the whole evening. So 5 minutes. Now, I've used my little buddy system over here. So a little station next door, and I would then, ladies first, as always, present the wine. Often what might happen is the guest may want to interact at this point, where I've obviously presented the wine. So, a beautiful Graham Beck Pheasants Run Sauvignon Blanc, 2007. And the guest said, "Ooh, that's lovely," or da 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 da. And this is where we can interact. And then I would then pour the gentleman, obviously open body language. The wine pairing is done. Now I'm set. The last that remains is simply the 1 minute rule. 1 minute before. Just got the heads up from the pass, 1 minute until the next course is out. Now in this next minute, it's time for me to prepare for the last time before the course comes out. And I would do this for every course of that guest dining experience. So, there are a number of things that I would have to check now at the 1 minute interval. Firstly, that the cutlery is still there. Guests love playing with cutlery. And what happens is they play with it and it goes all over the table. So I would simply either space it or simply neaten it to make sure that the plate can actually go down. So when I get there with the 2 plates all looking smart, I don't have to put the one on the other arm and then have to space it. This is my time to once again space the cutlery. I would also look, is there enough wine in the actual glass? Does the guest need any more water? And I would top up accordingly. Now, if you're using a runner system, then it's easy.